chief with bad vibes, tearing it up. MSG crowd, stunned faces in the stand. Cody shakes his head. This again? Damn, man. Get it down, Raw's mess on replay. Jake and Cody laughing, talking our way. Roman's shadow creeping, ruins the whole play. Triple threats faded, mania calls, they say. The garden stomps through. Rex plans in his strut. Tribal chief with bad vibes, tearing it up. MSG crowd, stunned faces in the stands. Cody shakes his head. This again? Damn, man.
What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake, a.k.a. Countdown Ended, coming back to you once again with Into Somewhere Weekly. That's right, turning this part of it into a weekly show. I've got my good friend Cody here once again to join me. Cody, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good. What a great show last night. I was glad that I got to be there in person. I thought it was cool where the interviews were done.
Yeah, you were right next to them doing the interviews. You gave us some great photos from last night. We got those playing on the side. Some great captures from last night. You were right next to where they did the interviews, like a foot away. So that was a really cool moment to see you that close for that. But you had great seats. The arena looked incredible. I mean, that blew me away with just seeing how many people, every time it's sold out and they do those drone shots, especially during the intro. I know you're in person. And I don't know if you could see the drones flying around actually, but
yeah, I did.
That's cool, you know?
One of them flew over me.
Oh, nice. You know, and it's just to have that aerial shot, and there's not an angle you can't film from because the entire building is sold out, and especially in the Mecca at MSG. What a night you had. That cage match ended exactly as we called. Funny enough, I mean, we really did kind of predict that one down the middle as it was. But nothing to complain about. The execution was perfect. The way they added Paul Heyman at the end brings in so many other layers. And what I'm accepting about this and now more enjoying, because I was a bit melancholy on it. I was a little disappointed. I wanted Punk to be in the main event. But this match has every right to be a main event match, especially 3 of the top stars in the company. Roman Reigns, the longest reigning champion of the modern era. Seth Rollins, who has been a consistent star for the past decade plus. Punk, the biggest name, being chanted for 10 years and not even being in the building. How could that not be a main event of Mania with this triple threat? So execution was great.
And I think they have a great story to tell because there's also the Paul Heyman aspect of it where the favor comes in and I don't know. Maybe it's something like that Paul Heyman will be CM Punk's advocate or wise man for the main event match, and he'll come out with CM Punk instead of Roman.
Right, that could be the favor. People were thinking big with it. Would it enable him to join the triple threat? You know, become a triple threat for John Cena and Cody? Is that the favor? Is it? It could just be, hey, I want you in my corner for Mania, not Roman's. That could be it. That could be the favor. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but what a mind fuck that would be for Roman. Remember when Roman was dealing with the back and forth of Heyman when Brock Lesnar returned. And it was interesting, but then they kind of ruined it by having Heyman like, oh, I'm with Brock. No, I was really with Roman. I was really with Brock. I fooled you both. You know, it got a little bit messy, too convoluted. But I like this because, again, storytelling, layers, like ogres and onions, as we always say. There wasn't, as much as it was a foregone conclusion, there's that word again, or words, that they were going to, have Roman interfere in some way, shape, or form. The execution of it, causing Punk to lose, but he didn't attack anybody initially. He just ripped Seth out and made the statement. Then he tried to make him bite down on the steel stairs, and he was going to give him the stomp after stomping him before that. So Roman getting his receipt from that double foot stomp at the Rumble. The people live were going nuts. You guys must have been really ecstatic to see Paul Heyman get in the ring consoling Punk. We kind of got that like a last second reveal, but being there live,
because I thought Punk would go down there where I thought they were going to cash in the favor there and announce it, but I mean,
yeah.
Now that the favor is something to do with for this match, Paul Heyman will be in Punk's corner.
Yeah, and that alone could be all they need to make this happen. And that could set everybody into a frenzy. with all the different angles here, you have 10 years of hatred between Seth and Punk, essentially. Longer, but, that's the story they were telling last night. And they had a great 3-minute trailer for the main event cage match that I wish they had put out sooner. They put it up on social media yesterday, like in the afternoon, and then it was on Raw, which I'm glad they featured it. But what a great promo for that. Initially, the idea, heading into Elimination Chamber, if you told me we were going to see Punk and Seth face each other again, I had no interest in that. But they got me. They sold it in such a way that it was exciting. Everybody has a reason to be involved. Roman and Punk have issues, and then with Paul Heyman kind of hanging over that is another angle of this. There's been the bad blood between these two about respect and who's the top dog and who's in charge and who's the true chief, which one's the guy. Punk says he's the best in the world. The other guy's the original and, OTC. It's a hell of a thing right there. And then you throw Seth into the mix as even more of a wild card. I'm not going to complain, certainly. So
maybe this isn't the case, but I think there could be something where, because CM Punk did mention that he's still going to get a championship match down the road, and that's not the Elimination Chamber is not the place that will stop him from getting the title match.
Yes.
But he claims that he also does earn it. Is the favor that the winner of the night one triple threat gets added into Cody and Cena, because there's going to be some frustration with Roman and Rock saying, okay, so Cena's your guy now?
That's what I can't wait to touch on as well, because everybody, this is one of the things I'm really enjoying, is that people are all talking about the Cena turn. They're all talking about The Rock. Like, they're not pretending, oh, I'm Logan Paul and I can only focus on AJ Styles. I'm going to face you at Mania, and that's tunnel vision.
Logan Paul did good with that, saying, consider my soul for sale.
Yeah.
So,
he's certainly better than Travis Scott as a third man, and I don't think he would have injured Cody. Because poor Cody. He looked still battered. I mean, on SmackDown, the reveal of his face was bad. But last night, still, you see him when he comes out for the pyro, the initial one, he takes out an earplug afterwards. So it's definitely, his eardrum is certainly ruptured. If he's blocking the concussive blast of the pyrotechnics, then it's obviously for his health. They don't want to damage his ear further. So I hope it's not as awful as it is. Like I said, I've had a ruptured eardrum. It's horrific. You got pus coming out of it. You're dizzy. You're nauseous. You can't focus. You're uncoordinated. Your balance is off. It's just, it ruins you. You have headaches and sinus pressure build up because everything's just leaking, flowing, and swelling. So awful.
I don't know if anything even got said to Travis Scott about that. Probably not, because of who he is. But
because in one way you're like, how could he not be read the riot act and then want to kill him? Certainly, but again, as we said, it could be just he made a mistake. He's really sorry. He was excited in the moment. He's not trained, and he could have been so apologetic backstage, and it could be all good. We didn't hear that there's an issue, just that this happened. So Cody's also the consummate professional. He might not bitch about it openly, but I think it would add to it if he did, certainly.
Oh, that would be funny. I would like that.
Right? Everyone's expecting for him to get this receipt, and as much as I'd love to see it, it is still a top-tier entertainer. And Travis, he didn't kill him. We could say that much. He wasn't trampled. But, that's like saying when they brought in Bad Bunny, you're going to go ahead and, he accidentally hurt Damian Priest, so now we got to break his hand kind of idea. I don't see them damaging a top-tier talent that sells millions of, dollars on tours and albums and all these types of things in the music industry. It's just, apparently they just dropped a T-shirt between The Rock, Cena, and Travis Scott, and it says that wrestling is real on it, and that's the one they're selling. So that's kind of interesting that they're poking fun at the whole IWC and angles of it. But yeah, I mean, you got there last night. You said the house was packed, and tell us more about your show, please. What you saw and what we didn't see on TV.
First of all, I think the arena is perfect. I think every seat's a good seat. We were right in the middle. We weren't in nosebleeds. We were in a good, I think, seating area. Just like stuff that you didn't see on TV. Probably like the interviews with like Lyra Valkyria and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Jackie Redmond. Other things probably that's just for international fans.
Yeah.
I don't think she's interviewed anyone else besides Lyra, but she did have a few other just
People up there
reacting.
during the commercial break type things.
Yeah, I like that, and I thought that was really cool. I didn't even know that they were shooting it right there until I just saw Jackie Redmond right next
Just
to me.
standing right next to you, inches away. Hi, gorgeous. You gotta throw a little bit of riz that way. But you're not wrong, and I've not been to MSG, but it is the world's most famous arena. And when you look at it, you sent that great shot. We have it cycling over here, and you could see the entire arena just filled. But the perfect like dome shape of it, it's big, but it's only, I think it fits like what, 18,000 ish people for WWE Raw setup. They had people behind the stage because they had the small screen flex going on. I like that small screen where you have fans behind. It sucks they can't see the Tron and whatnot, but at least they still get the pyro and all the effects of it. It's not blocked by a huge Titantron like it used to be when you sat behind Raw. So it's a good setup.
Seeing like the wrestlers come out like that or leaving to the back.
It adds to it. It really does. It gives it that larger than life feel. And they're going to be there again tonight for WWE NXT Roadblock. NXT's been taken out of that name, so they're just calling it WWE Roadblock. Again, I see what they're going for, but I hope NXT doesn't lose its individuality. But as of right now, they're set up for 4,631. There's only 13 tickets left to be totally sold out. So that was this morning. I'm sure those tickets are gone. They were literally like way in the back, but I've not seen the theater at MSG before, and it, like I said, it holds about 5,000. Looks pretty cool, so I'm very intrigued for this card tonight. This is one of the biggest shows NXT has had, possibly since Stand and Deliver last year. This card is massive, so we'll go over our predictions afterwards, but going through Raw, I mean, we mentioned obviously the cage match, but Logan Paul comes out and he goes ringside, and WWE's been big about talking to the celebrities and making note of who's at Raw. Like, this is a big deal. Look at Everybody Loves Wrestling. We've got Macaulay Culkin's brother, and yeah, so they went over and they had Andrew Schultz there, and I thought he was great. He handled himself really well. He kept it simple. He did the kiss thing. Keep it simple, stupid. But he was right. This is New York. We're a fighting town. Then Logan drags him in and goes to kick his ass, and AJ comes out from the save. I think the live crowd really reacted to Schultz well, and he's a big deal on Netflix with comedy. I like the Flagrant 2 podcast. I listen to that every now and again, but I like his comedy, so it was really cool to see him in that role and go ahead and build up to the road to WrestleMania for AJ and Logan.
I agree with that. Sorry, my phone dropped.
No worries.
It happens. But
exactly.
I think the celebrity aspect is really good, and they do it better than what AEW does with their celebrity aspect, where wrestlers get to know who the winner, whatever.
Who wins before anybody else. See, I know what she meant, and I said it that night to myself, and I forgot to bring it up on the review. But Camille went ahead and cut a story the next day explaining it too. And if you listen to it, she is right. She's saying, you're going. She's not saying you guys and everybody. Like, she's saying you're going to win before anybody else. Meaning, like, you have the confidence. You even if you're not the champion, you're the champion without the title. That kind of a thing. That's what she was trying to say. Like, wrestlers, they go out there, and even if they're going to lose, they know they're going to win. Because it's not a real sport, so even if you lose, you're still winning because you're doing a good job. Like, that's what she was trying to say, is like, you're going to go out there and kill it. Unfortunately, they don't have production meetings. They don't say things beforehand, so if she didn't add in more to that quote, it sounds really bad, like they're breaking the fourth wall and be like, oh, wrestling's fake on the wrestling program. So not a great moment for them, unfortunately, but I get what she was saying. I think people blew it way out of proportion, but it's still a funny clip, no doubt. But all the press tour so far, she hasn't said anything like that. All she's done is talked about like how great it is to see how confident the wrestlers are. So I think she was trying to make that statement out of it, but quite an embarrassment. And speaking of a statement, what'd you think of Cody's promo last night?
I like Cody's promo. I think he's always good with that, but I'm glad that Cena will be here to continue the story, because we can't have Cody Rhodes do promos every week without Rock or Cena showing up. And I was getting hopeful that maybe The Rock would show up at MSG, but didn't get my wish.
I was hopeful for you as well, and it was kind of like a, hey, what's to come kind of thing. And SmackDown did well the other day. It had 1.741 million viewers on the USA Network, and they had a .52 rating at 18 to 49. So that's an increase from the week before. And the year before on Fox, they were doing a little over, but it's still a really good rating for them. And for SmackDown this week, before they go for the European tour and all overseas there, we have DIY defending their tag team titles against the Street Profits. Believe it or not, that was probably, besides the Cody promo, one of my favorite segments from all of SmackDown was Nick Aldis, the GM, doing the whiteboard. It's simple, but he's drawing to each tag team. This one did this, and it connects to this one, and this one, we saw Los Garza get attacked by Pretty Deadly, and he connected all the strands, and how there's multiple teams, everybody has issues. It just makes the tag division feel alive and very competitive, and like it matters. As where the Raw side, it's lacking, and we don't often see the men's tag team champions over there, or they're not defending them that often. Not a lot of tag stuff, at least for the titles on Raw anyways. But we also got Charlotte Flair. She's got a match against B-Fab. She attacked Tiffy the other night, which was okay. We've got Randy having a match with Carmelo. He gave a good comeback promo on SmackDown. And then we got Miz TV with Cody Rhodes. So this should be a good SmackDown, but really, as you said, they're building to Raw next week. And we know that. It's going to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern next week.
That.
I like that it's going to be Raw, and it's not tape delayed where, we already know the spoilers, and later on we got to wait for 8 o'clock for the, so it's unfortunate for some people, but if you cannot, some people are going to get home and it'll still be on, so they can start from the beginning without being spoiled, or they can just start it over immediately, and it's not late enough that you haven't, had the chance to be spoiled on everything. So you've got Cody and John in the same building at the same time. Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, they have an IC title match. Then you got Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser in a no-holds-barred match. Jey Uso is taking on Austin Theory, and then we have Dakota Kai facing Ivy Nile. So again, Brussels, Belgium, it's going to be a huge show there on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, as we said, so we'll see what happens. But
can we cut? This is shoot the shit kind of thing, right?
Yes, sir. Please.
You want to talk about the George situation?
Yeah, I wanted you to bring this back up. Before we go into the wrestling news that we have, for the rest of the week and our preview for Roadblock, we mentioned this on the AEW Revolution review, I think it was the other night. After Spaz had left and you had come back in, we had talked about it, and you'd just been dealing with this incredible amount of just internet harassment and cyberbullying. We kind of made note of it, that there was this creator on both Instagram, TikTok, was a live streamer, mainly focused on gaming, but had some wrestling stuff too, and you had been a part of the community for a long time, and it just kind of stemmed into an issue eventually, I think stemming from jealousy. I'm not really sure, but it seemed to all coincide when you got chummy with the Judgment Day crew and started getting your stuff reposted and shared all the time. It seemed like some resentment was happening. I'm not too sure, but I had reached out. We had other people reach out. We tried to resolve this peacefully, and now it's just getting messier, and you're getting threatened and harassed endlessly. Your name's getting thrown through the mud. So we tried to handle it peacefully, nicely, respectfully. I don't want to have to sick spaz on anybody, but dear God help them if that's the case. But I know you wanted to mention a few things as well and kind of bring light to it. People dealing with harassment online, it's terrible. And there's essentially not a lot you can do about it unless it gets to such an extreme level that it becomes a real nightmare for you. And it's terrible that that's the common social media grind for people. You have to deal with this bullshit, unfortunately, and it shouldn't be how it is. I mean, you can't say, you're never going to deal with a mean person online ever again. No. But having people continually make accounts of you to harm your name and make you look like you're an asshole and those type of things.
George just messaged me.
Really?
He said, "You are not right in the head, huh? We have all the proof." Here we go again. That this has all been you, yet you're still trying to clout surf. Like, Twitch will give you shits what you have to say. You're a little nobody. You're the one obsessed I'm obsessed, but he talks about me on the live stream every night.
It's not hard to grab IP addresses, and you can spoof things, and there's VPNs, and you can clone IPs. I mean, it's not impossible, but what it really comes down to is, I mean, every device, everything has its own little kernel. It's serial number. There's a digital ID for everything, and you had gone ahead and even shown by contacting TikTok directly that no other accounts had been made. You only had the accounts that were noted as yours, and that was it. You had, your only profile is like yourself, and then one for gaming and community stuff, and that was confirmed. So whatever evidence people keep claiming they have, we haven't seen any proof of anything. We haven't seen anything come to light, and it's just, I feel terrible for you. And we all deal with nonsense. I threw an apple and got blocked. I mean, shit happens, and I get it, but to have it come out of the internet into real life and then lead to, home visits and police threatening and lawsuit stuff, it's ridiculous.
He said he has all the recordings that turned me into the cops. Huh?
Well, I will publicly say it here. He can see it if he'd like to come on here and discuss things out. I will be a neutral party. As much as I'm your friend, I can gladly, delegate the responsibility of being a moderator. I could be fair and just, and I can mute people so you can't talk over each other. I have no problem giving you guys, it doesn't have to be on air either. It could be something behind the scenes. I'm just saying it publicly that that's an option. I'd like to see this be settled, and even if you guys go your separate ways, so long as people aren't being attacked and you constantly feel like you have to defend yourself and it just escalates over and over. I know you tried to stay away and keep from it, and then you're getting harassed in real life now, so ignoring it isn't working. Being nice and civil isn't working, so I don't know what the next steps are, but something's got to be done. I mean, it can't stay in this kind of state, unfortunately.
Sarah, he said, I just made a fake account like you do with a name, so you'd look at my message.
Apparently, I'm a fake you as well, which is kind of funny, but, I don't know if it's just people need to feel special or it gives them a sense of power, but we see it, like I said, far too often. And you just want to come on here, I want to talk wrestling and have fun. You want to hang out and enjoy people and just live your life, not bother anybody. And unfortunately, these things continue to, as I said, escalate and worsen. So hopefully something can be done to make it right.
Okay, it's their friend Sarah now. So
so the plot thickens. Well, if we get any updates or we get anything out of it that I can help with or anybody can advise to, let us know. There's a million ways to reach out to us. They can find you on Twitter. The links will be in the description down below. They can find me as well. Twitter. You can reach out there at Countdown Ended. On a lighter note, WWE did announce that the Hall of Fame ceremony and location is revealed. It's going to be late, though, so they're doing it, obviously, that night, Friday, April 18th. It'll take place at the state-of-the-art 90,000-square-foot Blue Live Theater as part of WrestleMania weekend. So that's interesting from Vegas. It's going to go ahead and start at 10 p.m. Pacific, though, so 1 a.m. Eastern. Sucks for the people that have to be there and the wrestlers and whatnot, but I guess they're offering fans 30% off room rates for new and existing rewards members. So if anybody wants to stay at the Fontainebleau, in Las Vegas, you can go ahead and do that as well for the Hall of Fame. But I don't know if I'll watch it live. It's not till 1 in the morning. I do want to see things, but we have Stand and Deliver the next day, night 1 of Mania. Then we got night 2 the following. It's going to be hectic. I wish it was on like a Thursday night kind of idea, or they did it during the day on Sunday, maybe. That would be a little bit, before Mania. But I get that it's becoming from a different center than where SmackDown's emanating from. So you have to have people be able to leave SmackDown and get to the arena for the Hall of Fame. People have to get ready. So
just stick with the whole right after SmackDown in the same arena, or do you like this whole
I don't mind them doing it in a different place because the After SmackDown made it a very long show and people didn't always want to go for that, or they it was not a lot of people wanted both. Some people wanted to be there for the Hall of Fame, other people wanted to be there for SmackDown. It wasn't always because it's a long show, and if you're not really into those wrestlers being, inducted, then it's probably not going to be exciting for you. I mean, you can still enjoy yourself, but you're going to have more fun at SmackDown. So I think having them be separate shows, and I wish it was live during the day instead of I don't know if they're going to be broadcasting it live. It seems to be said that it'll be live at 10 p.m. Eastern on that night. So I'm assuming they will have it late as it is, and they but sometimes they've edited it before. They've done it where they put it up in like an hour format, and then we've seen the entire thing. So I'm not sure what they'll do. It looks like they're going to be airing it live from what we've read through some of the press releases, but I like who they've inducted so far. Obviously, there's a few other people and notable names that probably should have went in first, like Demolition, but Triple H being inducted is certainly well earned and well deserved. Him going in for DX, the original DX run, as we mentioned, was like 16 to 18 months, was really short. They came back, obviously, a few times and reformed, but it was him and Shawn. And, they've had a few mini appearances, but this is more like, hey, we're honoring the game. We're honoring the Cerebral Assassin, the Authority, all of that. We have 2 decades of him doing things that aren't just DX, so he certainly deserves to be in there. Michelle McCool being honored. Okay. It feels a little forced. We also heard that Michelle was in this LFG show instead of Mickie James due to The Undertaker suggesting that he wanted her to be involved more. So we'll see how much pull he has.
I think Undertaker probably could get Mickie James kicked off the show. I don't understand why they can't just add another host or whatever, but...
Yeah, between LFG and those type of things, but... I mean, Michelle McCool is not a bad person to go into the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve it herself. I just think that there's people that had a more impactful women's career that aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be.
Like AJ Lee. I think AJ Lee is better than Michelle McCool. Some people might disagree with me on that, but...
Yeah, I mean, at least in ring anyways, I could certainly see that argument being made. Absolutely. And, I mean, there's just quite a few stars and female talent that haven't been honored yet. Speaking of honoring the female talent, you and I are excited. You, me, and Patrick might be going to Evolution. We'll see what happens there, but that's supposed to be taking place July 5th from the Mohegan Sun Arena. They haven't officially announced it yet, but I'm looking forward to when they do. I love the original Evolution pay-per-view. I get the contention from it because they're like, oh, you're not going to have an all-male pay-per-view, so why are you featuring this? But be realistic. The women's were never featured as heavily as the men. So for them to have their own show, I don't have any problem with it. I'm excited for it. I loved the first Evolution that they had. That was probably one of my favorite shows of the entire year. And between the matches, the stories they told, it was really good. The only thing that kind of sucked is that we didn't get Bliss and Trish like we were aiming to. But we'll see what happens this time around. As far as tonight goes, this is a massive, massive roadblock. NXT has a huge show, and it's not even a PLE. It's just a weekly special edition of NXT television. But I can't say it enough, so excited for this show at this point in time. It's going to be a very, very exciting night. They being the WWE, they've gone ahead recently, I feel like, and they've kind of fed the dirt sheets some fake stories, and we've seen Cody and the Rock segment was supposed to go third on Elimination Chamber. That's how it was set up in the internal structure. We've heard things from Fightful. The Rock comes in, they got to rewrite SmackDown, but yet this has supposedly been the plan since October. So I think they're doing a lot to dispel rumors and trying to dissuade fans from predicting exactly what's going on. You could have had 100,000 people in a row said John Cena's going to turn heel, but as we said, how many of them actually believed it, Yeah,
I still couldn't believe it. I predicted it, but you just don't believe it until it happens. And you're still in shock, even if you say, yeah, I can see that happening, but when it happens, still, holy shit.
Right? I mean, we've had the same John Cena, and he's done heel things before. We've watched him be a prick at times, but still He had to stay face. And the one person's reaction that I want to know above all else is Vince McMahon. I want to know what he thinks about his ultimate pet project and boy and John Cena, whom he never allowed to stray from the hustle, loyalty, respect branding. How does he feel seeing his former it guy a heel now? With him being so refusal and adamant to not do that before.
Probably going nuts.
Right?
Probably. Knowing that he never wanted to be the bad guy is now the bad guy, and Vince is probably blowing a gasket somewhere.
He certainly must be. And, you know, I would love to hear his reaction. He might be all for it, but I'm not certain. As you said before with the LFG show, it's been fun to see what they've done, and we're going to have all the coaches there tonight. Undertaker, Mickey James, Booker T, Bubba Ray Dudley. I'm excited for that. Then we have Jordynne Grace taking on Roxanne Perez. So last week we had her and Cora Jade. Their match got stopped when Cora got rocked, and they wanted to make sure she was okay. But it still made Jordynne look kind of strong that she was able to essentially injure her opponent in that fast of time and get out of the match. I'm certainly very excited to see what happens going forward with, you know, Roxanne in the main roster. We're probably getting her and Bayley, but Jordynne and Roxanne tonight, I'm pretty sure Jordynne wins no matter what, and I think we're going to see Jordynne play into possibly the main event later on. But what are you thinking about this match, Cody? We might have lost him. We'll see what happens here. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez? Who do you think is going to win? What are you excited for this match?
Yes, I'm surprised. I thought Roxanne Perez got called up. Is that just a one-off for the Elimination Chamber? Or?
It seems like she's doing both, and she's not officially on the main roster, but she's been featured, not heavily, but enough, and we've seen her several times. The story between her and Bayley kind of cooled down, I guess, unless they bring it back up in the next few weeks on the main roster. But right now, it seems like the story is just developing between Roxanne and the NXT thing. I know she needs that swan song. She needs the send-off, and likely Spaz thinks it'll happen at Stand and Deliver. I mean, this could be her last match because she said, I didn't want to go out like that, but we don't know. It certainly could happen. I think it'll be a good match. I think Jordynne wins here, and that'll play into the main event later. But like I said, I'm really excited for this one. Jordynne Grace has been a ton of fun, and I can't get enough of her.
Me either. I think this was a good signing by WWE, but people are going to say WWE is just using TNA because they're going to get all their top talent, which I guess could be the case. But
it could be, but I feel like that was more the case in AEW because WWE is at least sending top talent over there as well. They've had their tag team champions, their NXT champions, Obafemi and Fraxium. They've had people, all over the place. They've had Cora Jade over there going for the women's title at Friday at Sacrifice. So there's just a lot of big things happening. I wish it was more of a known commodity whether or not she's on the main roster. It felt like she was just kind of there but not fully a Raw star at this time. But I hope they make it more definitive. Like they let it know, like, all right, no, now she's fully a Raw star and she gets her NXT send-off. We've got Javon Evans taking on, all ego Ethan Page. Their first two outings, not good for Javon or his jaw. The first time they did it with the chair being stomped and he broke his jaw was so visceral and so great to see the blood pour out of his mouth, and it just looked beyond brutal, really vicious. We've seen Paige here destroy Cedric's hand as well. That was Javon's now fired mentor. Then the second match, he got the best of him too, and Javon was injured once more. Now we're going to have their no holds barred all out street fight. Who do you think wins this one?
Who is that again? Oba.
No, this is Ethan Page and Javon Evans. So Javon Evans, I think he's going to win because Ethan's beaten him twice now. He needs his win back. He needs to show that he could conquer the baddie and avenge his brutal injuries.
I think I see it happening. WWE 101. Someone needs to win.
Yeah, I think
It
Javon
doesn't
takes
happen
it.
that way. I
Exactly.
think Javon's gonna end up taking this.
I think he has to really because
I don't know.
he's not that they they haven't buried him, they haven't diminished his character, but they told a really good story with the first two matches, and if he loses here, I feel like that will start to take him into that territory where it starts to be a bit too muddied. Then we got Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys, defending their TNA tag titles against Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Braxium, right?
Yeah, I love obviously both teams here. Fraxium have grown on me immensely. They're probably one of my favorite acts in NXT at this point on the men's side. They consistently deliver quality matches that aren't just straight up spot fests. I will say it too. Last night, the Raw main event was a spot fest, and I can't complain about it on AEW without addressing it in WWE. There were so many things that Punk and Seth kicked out of, but it was less about having a banger of a match and more about telling the story. My hatred, my drive, my determination keeps giving me the power to kick out of everything you throw at me and vice versa. And then it got to the point where they were in such a stalemate that Roman had to be the conclusion. So I don't hate it. I get the point of complaining like, oh, they kicked out of a lot, but they've also had previous interactions where it built and built and built. So maybe a few less of the finishers and, get rid of some of the stomps and GTSs and do some other crazy things for near falls. I think they should save finishers more for the finish. I think that would bring a lot back as far as not feeling like a spot fest. Who do you think wins this tag team match, my friend? It's hard to see Fraxium taking the TNA tag titles from the Hardys, but anything is possible.
I think the Hardy Boys win it. I don't think. They let a WWE team win their tag team titles, but you never know with this partnership. It could happen.
It very well could, and with the way everything's been so unexpected lately, I'm going to side with you. I'm going to say Matt and Jeff, they retain here. I think we're going to see Cora Jade, though, take the women's title from Masha Slamovich. So we will see a WWE NXT star with a TNA title, in their hands soon enough. But I agree with you. I think it's pretty much going to be the Hardys retaining. Then we have Oba Femi versus Moose. This was supposed to be title for title, NXT champion versus the X Division champion from the system. But Moose is now defending his title Friday against Jeff Hardy in an X Division, Ultimate match. So that'll be great. Now this is just for the NXT Championship. We've got, immovable object kind of idea being meant against Man Mountain. Moose said you can't dominate me. I think Obafemi wins here, but it's going to be a great outing for him. It's going to be a meaty men slapping meat style match and very, very powerfully intense. I think Obafemi is going to look very strong and he's going to retain, but he's going to have a few moments where you're like, oh shit, Moose might get the better of him. It should be good. What are your thoughts, Cody?
I think let's go.
There we go. Now we got you back. I'm sorry. What were your thoughts about this match?
I went back and forth.
I think that we're more than likely going to get Obafemi to retain. We'll see how it turns out, but I can't see Moose winning the title. As crazy as that would be, I just don't see it being the case. I really don't. And then, of course, we have the main event, the women's match, the match that I could not be more excited for. We saw both of the women's champions last night on Raw. They were in the audience, so that must have been great to see them holding their titles there. Obviously, we had Stephanie being shown first and then Julia afterwards. We keep hearing, as I mentioned earlier, little bits of stories from the dirt sheets, and they're telling us repeatedly that, hey, Julia's injured. One of them is beat up, and she's got some not major issues, but enough to take her out of the contention to continue wrestling for a while. So is she going to lose, or is that all bullshit? And do we end up getting a new champion, tonight, or does the match get thrown out and Jordan Grace interferes and we get another triple threat?
I think personally, sorry again.
No worries.
Sucks.
Hey,
The shit.
you're having technical difficulties. It's a day. Don't worry. But I heard part of that. Do you think Stephanie might actually get it?
Yes.
Wow. Especially with all the reporting, with Julia being possibly injured and banged up and bruised and broken, Stephanie holding both titles is amazing. We saw these women face off almost exactly a year ago in Stardom, and I didn't anticipate to see them face each other possibly ever again, because I thought Stephanie was going to go to AEW and I thought Julia was going to go to WWE. And then thankfully that's not how it turned out. Julia was the big name, but I feel like Stephanie has been one of the best surprise attractions in terms of how she ingratiated herself with the fans and made such a lasting impact. She so far has really had some outstanding matches, some really good promos, and people are behind her naturally. So I definitely can see why you're thinking she might win tonight and have both titles, and that's, again, not a bad choice. I don't think they can go wrong here, but I'm going to stick with my gut. I think Jordan Grace is going to get involved, and I think it's going to become a triple threat at Stand and Deliver. I've had that feeling for a while now. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm staying with. So you're thinking Stephanie takes the titles. It's certainly possible, but goddamn, would that be exciting?
I see an upset. I just see something, because WWE's been doing a lot of, like, Jey Uso winning the Rumble. No one thought that would happen.
Io Sky winning, You had on Raw last night as well. Io Sky, she slapped the taste out of both women. It was good to see her first slap Rhea, then she followed it up with Bianca. And she's like, I'm not going to be an afterthought. I'm not going to be forgotten about. I am the women's champion. I fully agree. And I think, though, that we're probably going to have the triple threat there and a triple threat here. So... any other takeaways on NXT Roadblock, my friend?
No, except that. No, I think the Hardy. Thinking about it now, I think they might pull something where the Hardys lose. Because I think it could help both TNA and WWE for WWE talent to be the TNA champions.
Yeah, I mean, Fraxian running around with those belts certainly wouldn't be bad, and they would defend them honorably and faithfully, so that would be a big thing to get for TNA, certainly, to have them in both sides. But they have such a big draw with the Hardys. They're selling out wherever they go because of the Hardy name, so that's what's making me kind of think they'll hold off, but it's not definite. That's for certain. We're also hearing Becky Lynch is coming back to the main roster soon. She took a few months off, did television film projects, so that's good.
Becky Lynch is coming back. You think it'll be Raw after Mania or something?
People are saying that she might be there before Mania. I mean, they have 40 days, give or take, to execute some kind of story and bring her back. Maybe they could do the Cody style, where you have somebody not knowing who they're facing at Mania and they bring her back as a surprise. It seems like, though, from my thoughts anyways, and taking into consideration the build for Mania, what they're doing, I think that it's going to end up being, like you said, Raw after Mania. She comes back and makes a run for the women's title against whoever has it at that point. Could be Io, could be Bianca, so. Could be Rhea.
And I hope that they don't put another title on Becky or Charlotte, because then we're just going back in a loop with them.
Yeah.
Because we've got new faces. We got new faces with champion. We got Io Sky. We had Liv Morgan for a little bit. It was nice to see new faces have the championships. Right now we got Tiffany Stratton as the SmackDown, or which one they call that, the Women's Championship, right?
Yeah, I believe it's like the one on Raw is the Women's World Championship, I think, or the World Title, and then the other one is the WWE Women's Championship. I think last night on Raw, when you were there, obviously, the only weak spot we had really was kind of Bayley versus Raquel, and that was just how it was set up. But even you fans were vocal for it, so it seemed like even still that wasn't a big miss. But everything else was a hit last night. Jey Uso had a good match with Grayson Waller, and getting attacked by Gunther. I just want people to care more about him than just the Yeet thing, but it seems like that'll be good. As you said, Logan was good with the heat he got. AJ coming to the rescue. Cody cut a great promo. New Day being attacked, or excuse me, New Day having a tag match, and Ray and Dragon Lee got attacked by a random, luchador. We don't know who that is. So I think it could be Phoenix, Ray Phoenix. It kind of looked like the build of him. I swear.
I think it's him too.
Yeah, the way he was walking is like, I know it sounds weird, but the shoes, the size, all of it, like it just looked smaller. It looked like Phoenix's size. Could be way off, but certainly seems that way. And then obviously we talked about the main event with the cage match. I forgot to bring up, you had the great video of Penta coming out, and you just hear the guy next to you freaking out for the pyro and whatnot.
Oh yeah, the guy next to me was all hyped for Penta, which I like. Penta is so good. It sucks that he was featured on the main event again.
Yeah, and that's great too. At least you got to see that live.
But
certainly,
it being Ray Phoenix, why was he going after
the luchadors?
What's it called? Yeah,
I don't know. That's the question there. And it could be something with heel version of it. It might not be him and Penta in a tag team when he comes in. We might have to wait for that now since plans changed. He could come in as a heel. It could not be him at all. It could be something else they're building towards. But with the way tickets have skyrocketed in price, we even saw people mentioning that today. They're having all these stars come. People want to go in the worst way. And it seems like it's not WWE, but it's TKO that is making these tickets be outpriced and overpriced. As I said, I was looking for Mania, and seats against the wall in the back of the arena were upwards of $700, not even being resold. It was just the surge pricing. So you have people saying, like, it's if when you worked for McMahon did care about the fans and the fan base, and that's why tickets could get pricey, but never this expensive. He said it's TKO, it's Endeavor, it's Ari Emanuel. It goes above and beyond. This is Vince Russo bringing this up, but he's right. How much were the tickets you had last night? Out of curious,
they were like $270. I hate to do this to you, but you want to look at this message? I don't know if they're trying to. They sent a link saying this is me.
It's just more stuff. I wouldn't click anything you get sent because it's just IP grabbers and whatnot. You can see it here.
Yeah,
it's going through Grabify for an IP logger, so just ignore it. But I'm glad at least you had a good night at Raw and took your mind off of all this stuff. I'm excited again for tonight. WWE NXT Roadblock. I'm gonna forever call it NXT. I'm really excited for tonight. I think the matches are going to be stellar. We're going to get some interesting, at least, interactions for people and see what builds up for Stand and Deliver. But overall, I'm just excited to see what we get going forward. I'm really enjoying NXT. Raw was a blast. SmackDown has been struggling a little bit. The 3-hour format for them, I know people say, if you have a 2-hour show, you can put on a 3-hour show, which is true, but SmackDown is a little bit less as far as like the depth of the roster. So they definitely were pumping and grinding better with the people they have there too for the stories. It is difficult because like Gunther's only staying on Raw, but Cody has to be on Raw and SmackDown. So when you see him on SmackDown, it doesn't have the same allure to it because it's like, oh, I already saw him on Raw, and he cut pretty much, they were both stellar promos, but pretty much the same promo back to back on SmackDown than on Raw. And not having Cody be able to wrestle right now, John's out and about, filming and doing things. So having to wait 2 weeks for the next phase of this Cena heel turn is certainly a little bit taxing on the fans. But they've given us enough in between with a la Punk, Rollins, Roman, all of that to keep us busy. So. Any final takeaways, my friend, before we go ahead and get ready for tonight's NXT Roadblock?
Nothing much, no. Just excited to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe some upsets will happen.
No doubt about it. So I think there, like you said, could be a lot of surprises tonight. Could be some crazy upsets. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited, and we will certainly be live tonight. You'll go ahead. Spaz and I will be there for the Sober Into Somewhere this week. We'll have the Roadblock review. I hope you guys go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Check out Cody's links. He's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everything will be in the description box down below. You can hit me up on Twitter at Countdown Ended, or feel free to go ahead and message me. I'm on Instagram as well. I'm not that active on there, but you can reach me there. And make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and everything down below. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I'll be live next. Got a big weekend this weekend, too. We'll be covering sacrifice and everything going on next, so you're going to want to tune in. Cody, again, thank you so very much. Hopefully everything gets a little bit better on the trolling side and cyberbullying and harassment stuff. I'll stay in touch with it, and we'll give everybody updates as it comes. And as far as everything else goes... Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you often minutes after that.
Yeah, absolutely. You let me know and keep up with it. And hopefully everything works out. And until then, I hope you all stay sexy. Have a great day. And we'll see you all tonight.